Hello everyone and welcome back to Sauti Briefs, where we discuss current conservation topics in Kenya and Africa. My name is Natasha Nyangara, and before we dive into today's episode, a gentle reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you're up to date with all our latest content. Without further ado, let's do this. On our first story today, we discuss Tanzania's ongoing move to evict indigenous Maasai from the conservation areas. Growing tensions in northern Tanzania have resulted in clashes between security forces and indigenous Maasai communities in the Loliondo district as the country's government advances a resettlement plan for the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, slated to begin in April 2021. In an incident last month, tensions turned into tragedy as police opened live fire on members of the Maasai community for uprooting beacons that were installed to demarcate the area pending their forceful eviction. This incident led to the death of one police officer and the injury of 30 others. 20 residents of the Loliondo district have been charged with murder, and the government is being accused of tolerating the use of excessive force by security personnel. Because of the conflict between conservation and land rights, the area has been a long source of contention in Tanzania. The UNESCO designated the Ngorongoro Conservation Area as a World Heritage Site in 1979, and in 2010, it was recognized as a World Heritage Site for its cultural value. For decades, the indigenous Maasai have coexisted with the diverse wildlife of the Ngorongoro and Serengeti national parks. The semi-nomadic pastoralists have helped maintain the natural environment and acted as the savanna guardians through their way of life, which mostly consists of animal husbandry and cultivation for self-sufficiency. However, the indigenous Maasai, who have called the reserve home for over a century, are now facing eviction from these lands, as authorities claim that their rising population is suffocating wildlife and its habitat. The contentious relocation plan, which humanitarian activists have described as unlawful and morally wrong, is expected to affect over 70,000 Maasai individuals. In 2018, the East African Court of Justice granted an injunction preventing the Tanzanian government from evicting the Maasai until a case filed by the community against the government was determined. A much-anticipated verdict in that case was expected to be issued on the 22nd of June this year, but the court postponed it until September at the last minute. There have been ongoing protests and campaigns against this eviction by local communities, domestic and international activist groups, with some of the protesters having been previously evicted from the Serengeti, with the promise of uninterrupted occupation of the NCA for another 1,000 years. In 2019, tourism was Tanzania's largest foreign exchange earner, the second largest contributor to the gross domestic product, and the third largest contributor to employment. The individuals and entities opposing these evictions contend that the action is motivated by the promotion of safari and hunting tourism and demonstrates that the Tanzanian government continues to prioritize tourism revenue at the expense of the indigenous pastoralists who have sustainably managed the area for generations. Tensions over Loliondo have been building since 1992, when the Tanzanian government granted a company from the United Arab Emirates, Otolo Business Corporation, exclusive hunting rights in the Loliondo game-controlled area. In 2017, after a ruling by the Tanzanian Human Rights Commission, the government decided to revoke the company's license. In July 2021, Rainforest Rescue and the Oakland Institute published a petition in favor of the Maasai community to stop the eviction. If you would like to sign the petition in support of the cultural and land rights of the aggrieved Maasai, please click the link in the description. Our second story takes us to Malawi, where we discuss a controversial water project inside Lake Malawi National Park. Despite continuous objections from conservationists, the Malawian government has begun the construction of a water project within Lake Malawi National Park. The water infrastructure is projected to service an estimated 93,000 inhabitants in the lakeshore district of Mangochi. The main purpose of this project is to provide clean and sanitary water to a large percent of the population that currently obtains water from unsafe sources, leading to high incidences of waterborne diseases. Lake Malawi National Park is the world's first underwater national park and was declared a protected area in 1980. While bestowing on it this protected status, the UNESCO described the park as property of global importance for biodiversity conservation, particularly owing to its hundreds of endemic fish species. The park also has various protected flora, birds, reptiles, and animals, as well as valuable archaeological remains. According to conservationists, the project will encourage encroachment into the park and result in a free-for-all destruction of its diverse species. The initiative has strong political backing, both domestically and internationally, and is considered critical to the government's intention to transform the region into a city. Several NGOs and conservationists maintain that they are not against the water treatment project itself, but are demanding the government identify a site outside the park in order to protect the ecological integrity of the ecosystem. The controversy began in July 2021, when it was revealed that construction work had begun prior to the completion of an environmental and social impact assessment. Following criticism, the Southern Region Water Board, which is the government organization responsible for implementing the project, released the stated document, but conservationists considered it inadequate. Unsatisfied with this report, environmental campaigners secured a High Court order to halt the construction in March this year. However, in April, the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned the lower court's judgment, and according to eyewitness reports as recent as last week, construction vehicles are currently blasting rocks, bulldozing boulders, and uprooting trees as they cut through virgin forest. MEPA's Interim Director General, Michael Makonombera, stated that the authorities are collaborating with leading agencies and contractors to ensure that all mitigating measures are followed, including tree planting and soil conservation measures. Julian Bayliss, a biodiversity and protected area specialist based in the United Kingdom, questioned the measure's sustainability in a letter to Malawi's government in July last year. He claims that no amount of tree planting will heal the harm because none of the trees will reach maturity, and that this project will open avenues for the extraction of other resources. Uvumbuzi Africa is dedicated to the protection of wildlife and its natural habitat. It is our sincere hope that the government will find a suitable alternative to this project location with the aim of preserving Lake Malawi National Park. As we come to the end of this episode, we'd like to give a special shout out to Nelly Cheboy, a young conservation hero providing a better future for 4,000 children through her NGO TechLit Africa, which uses recycled computers to build technology labs in remote Kenyan schools. Through her initiative, students aged 4 to 12 years receive daily classes and frequent opportunities to learn from professionals and gain tech skills that will help improve their education and prepare them for future jobs. Uvumbuzi commends Ms. Cheboy and her team at TechLit Africa for this laudable initiative. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this video. If you have any questions about the topics covered today, feel free to engage with us in the comment section below or send us a direct message on any of our social media platforms. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to share it with your friends. For me, it's Asante. Till next time.